Rachel. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. In this video I'm going to be talking about how my pregnancy after stillbirth was different. So I lost my baby at 22 weeks, or 21 weeks, 6 days, so almost 22 weeks. And after I lost him in February of 2017, and in May of 2017, so 3 months later, I fell pregnant again with my now daughter. However, the pregnancy was completely different, and the things that happen in pregnancy after you lose a baby is a lot different than when the first time around, or if you've never lost a baby before. Your pregnancies would be very easygoing and fun, and unfortunately mine was not. So I'm going to be talking about how my pregnancy was different with Lacey than it was the first time around. Anyway, I have some notes in my notebook to help me go through this a little bit easier. So it's just going to be about like the things that happen in pregnancy that you're typically excited about for me, and how different it was, if that makes any sense. I know I'm not really putting these words out right, and I feel like I should have wrote down an entire script for this video, but we're just gonna get right into it, and hopefully I can make a little bit of sense. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is what it was like finding out. So I'd say I fell pregnant in May. I found out in the beginning of June. So it was like the first week of June, and I had missed my period, I want to say by 2 weeks. And I didn't even want to acknowledge it, in the fact that I had missed it and I could be pregnant. At this point, I was on the NuvaRing, but I wasn't on it long enough when I did the thing. So it's my error. I'm not saying NuvaRing is ineffective, because it's really effective for some people. I just wasn't on it long enough to, you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm putting out there? So I was about 2 weeks late on my period. Bobby had said to me, I told Bobby, and he had said to me, "Are you pregnant?" I said, "I have no idea. I'm not taking a test." So he said, after a couple days went by and I didn't get it, he said, "We're gonna go get a test." So he went with me to Walmart. We bought a pregnancy test. I believe it was just your regular clear blue plus sign pregnancy test. And we picked one of those up, and then we went back to his house, or his parents' house, and I took it and I handed it to him, and because I refused to read it. I did not want to read it because it would be disappointing to me either way. If it was negative, it would just hit me harder because I had lost a baby. But if it was positive, it was going to be, oh my god, I'm pregnant, and I had no idea how to handle that. I was not ready to be pregnant. I was not ready to do it all over again. I was so terrified of pregnancy. And anyway, I took it, I gave it to Bobby, and he read it, and it was positive, and he told me it was positive, because I told him I didn't, I was scared of it. So how that felt versus the first time I found out I was pregnant was a lot of fear. And I know the first time you find out you're pregnant, especially when it's unexpected, there's going to be a lot of fear. The fear was different though. It wasn't, oh my god, I'm pregnant and I don't know what to do. It's, oh my god, I'm pregnant, what if I lose this baby? Because once you know that pain's going to stick with you. So that's where my fear was. It was, I'm not ready for this, and I'm not ready to do this again, and I don't know how I'm gonna do this again. And that's pretty much how it was finding out, different from the first time finding out. I mean, finding out you're pregnant is scary regardless, even if you were trying to be pregnant and you tried for a long time. It's exciting, but you still have that fear. I was absolutely terrified though. Terrified. Another thing that was, this is a little TMI, and this was right after I'd found out, so it's probably between, I want to say it was probably like 6 weeks when I found out. So it's between 6 and 12 weeks. It was a constant checking things, checking if you're bleeding, checking if there's abnormal stuff, checking if your cervix is closed or not, because it's supposed to stay closed, and I was afraid that it would open and I would end up going into miscarriage. So this is something that I did consistently. There would be times where I'd be sitting alone and I'd be like, oh my god, I have to go check to make sure. I'd feel a little bit of fluid or something, and I'd panic. I would panic. I'd have to run to the bathroom and just check things out. So like I said, it's a little TMI, but it's just something that I did that was I definitely didn't do the first time around. The third thing I'm going to talk about is the first ultrasound. When I went in for my first ultrasound the first time around, I was nervous, needless to say, but we were excited. I was really excited to see the baby for the first time and see that little bean with the little flicker and heartbeat, and it was really exciting. And if it's your first pregnancy, or if you've never lost, you understand that excitement. But that first ultrasound was probably one of the most scared moments I was been in my entire life. So I went in, and I had my mom and Bobby with me, and they would only let one person in the room with me. So obviously I picked Bobby, and then my mom was going to come in later. But I remember sitting on the table, like the bed that they lay on, and instantly bawling my eyes out. The second she pulled out that ultrasound wand, I panicked, because I thought, what if they don't see the baby, or what if there's no heartbeat? And I was bawling my eyes out, terrified. And I can't get that point across, how that hit me and how awful that was for me. Like I said, I can barely talk about it. I can barely explain that fear that I had. And if you've lost a baby and you go on to have another, you know that when you go in for that first ultrasound, it is terrifying. Like I said, I laid on the bed and I cried. I cried the entire time. And the nurse, she couldn't really tell me anything. So it wasn't until after the ultrasound that they came in and they explained to me that where the heartbeat was and everything. And it was, she was okay. She was good. But I said, that first ultrasound is terrifying. The next thing I'm going to talk about is fear of Dopplers. So I found out that I had lost my baby through a Doppler, a not-home Doppler. And they're not recommended to have by doctors. I say that it's up to you if you want to buy one. But I never used mine. At least not until, I think the first time I pulled it out and used it with my pregnancy with Lacey, I was like 18 or 19 weeks. Before that, when I was pregnant the first time with Mason, I used it from, God, I think I used it at like 8 weeks and on. But I had such a fear of these. I had a fear of using them myself and the doctor using them. So when I would go into my doctor's appointments, I would panic every time he would pull it out and be terrified they weren't going to find the heartbeat. Obviously they did every time, but it stuck with me. The next thing I'm going to talk about is there's no safe zone. And when you find out you're pregnant, a lot of people think, the risky part is up to, at the first trimester, so up to 12 and a half weeks. That is like the risky zone, and after that you're completely safe. Nothing can happen. And my first pregnancy, I thought, oh great, I got through the first trimester. We're safe, we're great, we're good to go. Well, after you lose a baby, especially one further in pregnancy, there is no safe zone. There is no, oh, if I make it to this point, I'm fine. If I make it to this point, I'm fine. You're terrified the entire pregnancy from beginning to end, because you know and have experienced a loss in the middle of a pregnancy when you're considered safe. So for me, there was no safe zone. There was no comfort in a time. It was fear the entire way through. The next thing is I was afraid of announcing it. I kept my pregnancy a secret pretty much the entire time. I didn't really post much on Facebook about it. I posted pictures from the baby shower. The baby shower was 32 weeks, so I think most people found out when I posted those baby shower pictures. I really just didn't want to say much because I had already lost one baby, and I was pregnant very, very, very soon after. So I know people judge that. They'll be like, oh, well, what, you didn't care about your first baby? Or oh, you're over it already? That was not me. No. But I didn't announce it, and I don't really regret that. It felt better for me to hold off. So my close friends and family knew pretty early. I mean, I told Bobby, my mom, and my sister knew right when we found out I was pregnant, and I told the rest of my family. I had planned to tell at 12 weeks. However, I started bleeding at 10 weeks and went to the hospital and missed work. So I had to call, and where I work is a family business, so it's run by my family. So I had to call my grandmother and tell her that I wouldn't be in because I'm bleeding and I'm pregnant, and of course I'm a mess. I was terrified in the hospital that day. That's a whole other story. But I told her, she told everybody at work, my aunt, my uncle, all of them, because they all work with me. So that's how they knew. And then at 12 weeks, between 10 and 12 weeks is when we told Bobby's parents and Bobby's family, my dad's side of the family. Like, we got the word out, but it pretty much stayed between family and very, very close friends. Not even, because one of my best friends didn't even know. So announcement was one of the things that was hard for me. The next thing I have it written down is ultrasounds in general. So other than the first ultrasound, all ultrasounds were terrifying. Everything was very medical. So it wasn't, oh, heartbeat, oh, ultrasound, gender reveals. For me, it was medical. So it was ultrasounds. Is the baby okay? What's the heartbeat at? Is there soft markers for Down syndrome or any other like birth defects or anything like that? And that was where it was for me. Everything was just so medical. Every doctor's appointment was a million questions and a million tests, and I was high risk, so it was double the tests, double the stress tests, all of this, and I kind of got caught up in that. I did have a gender reveal party. I will post a picture here of that. I can also post, if I can find the clip, I'll post it here of the gender reveal. And
girl,
green.
Oh.
Whoa.
Very close.
That was close.
We only have 3 hours. What happened?
There's a lot more.
Okay.
That's recording, right?
But in the middle of like all of that, I was terrified. I didn't really want to do a gender reveal because what if I lost this baby? Another thing I have written down now, these are all out of order, and I should have planned this out better. I really should have. I might redo this one in a little bit. I'll probably edit this one and see how it turns out. But anyway, I was scared to name the baby. Once we knew she was a girl, I was afraid to look up names and name her. So I kind of held off on that until pretty late in the end. Another thing is I didn't want to make a registry because I was afraid, what if I lose this baby? So if I got all excited and made the registry like I did the first time, I had a whole registry for him and we were all ready, and for this time I held off until like maybe a month before the baby shower. I think it was like 28 or 29 weeks when I made the registry and was comfortable with it to share it and plan a baby shower. My cousin, thankfully, she planned the gender reveal and the baby shower for me. She helped me with both of them, and I'm forever thankful for that because going through this pregnancy was the hardest thing to do after a loss, and so soon after a loss. So I always had her with me, and that was awesome because at this point my sister, she was in college and she wasn't home very often, and it felt good. So I'm happy that she did that for me, because if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have done either. I would have never done a gender reveal, and I would have never done a baby shower. So Elizabeth, if you're watching this, thank you for helping me with that. So that's pretty much everything I have written down, and I just wanted to talk about, you know, if you're going through this and you are pregnant and you had just either had a miscarriage or a stillbirth, that it is okay. Eventually, later in the pregnancy, I started to get more comfortable with it, and I felt better. I never felt okay. I mean, it literally wasn't up until the moment she cried and I heard her cry that I was okay. And I knew that it wouldn't happen until then. I knew that I wouldn't be okay until I heard her, and I had that in my mind. I always knew that that moment would be it for me. So I did get more comfortable. I mean, other things I did was kick counts endlessly. I did kick counts all the time. I would check a heart rate with the Doppler the further I got along, and you know, I was always so afraid of preterm labor. I was so afraid that I would have her too early, or there would be birth defects that we didn't know. There was all these fears wrapped up into it. Hopefully I can make some sense out of this video, but I just want to let you know, like I let everybody know at the end of these videos, if you're going through this, you're more than welcome to DM me on Instagram, or comment down below if you're comfortable with that. I read all my comments, all my messages, to talk if you want to talk. There's so many women who do go through this, and so many parents and couples who go through this, and it's hard. It's not easy. So if you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to message me. You will be okay. You will get through this. If you're planning on having children again, don't let this video scare you. Pregnancy will affect everybody differently. Those fears will affect everyone differently, especially depending on time. The more time that goes by, the easier it probably will be. For me, like I said, it was 3 months after that I found her, like almost 4 months after that when I actually found out. So it hit me pretty hard. I had Lacey on February 8th of 2018. I had lost my son found out that we lost him on February 8th of 2017. So it was 1 year later that I gave birth to Lacey. Well, I gave birth to Mason on the 9th, but we had lost him on the 8th, and we found out. It was just a long process, but 1 year. So if Lacey would have been born a day later, it would have been 1 year since the birth. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. It always helps my videos and helps my channel out. Comment down below anything you want to talk about. DM me if you want to talk. Like I said, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I really, really hope to see you in the next one. Bye.